So, Superman and Lois episode 13. Let's review it, ladies and gents. I was very curious about where they were going to go with this episode. Great one, as per the norm. Bit slower than usual, but I get it, because we've just been ramping up. And it sort of felt a bit, Jasper cameo, almost like it was a bit anticlimactic with the last episode. But wait, they slowed it down to then ramp back up again towards the end of this episode. So I'm really intrigued to see where they go with this, actually. Have faith is my sort of go-to with this series now. They're really good. They've been really good with this. The episodes are just superb. I've thoroughly enjoyed this whole season. It's been really decent. So we're going to talk full spoilers because I do with this show. I constantly recommend it. And it's so difficult to review in a non-spoiler fashion. And obviously here in the UK, I watch it a day after it's come out, so full spoilers is pretty much the go-to. This interaction here is the centre of it all, and I'm really intrigued to see where it goes. Now, obviously, this episode deals with the aftermath of Morgan Edge abducting and essentially transferring Kryptonians into the residents of Smallville. It's the whole aftermath of that. He's in prison. You have residents going mental at, Lana Lang, obviously not Lana Lang anymore, but Lana Lang and her husband, the fire chief, and essentially blame it. They want someone to blame, and I get that, this kind of small town mentality, you would want someone to blame, but it's quite insidious because the mayor is in on that as well. He's reassuring, Lana Lang and her husband, reassuring them, but whilst also going around running his mouth to people like the police chief, for instance, and saying, yeah, it's absolutely all their fault. I always had my my sort of considerations of Morgan Edge, and it was him. He coerced people to getting them in there, and it's just bad, you know. So it deals with that aftermath. It also deals with the aftermath of Lois Lane, basically ruining her journalistic integrity. It was actually quite a Lois Lane heavy episode, this one, and it was really decent. It was she's good. I really like her, Lois Lane. She reminds me sort of the original Lois Lane, as well as the Superman and Lois TV series that was out, I don't know, what was it, in the 90s or something like that. She does remind me of that. She's very headstrong. She nails the characterization of Lois Lane, basically. So she ruins her journalistic integrity by basically lying to the owner of the Smallville Gazette, the person she works for, coincidentally. And then it's building off of that, how she's trying to get her father to give a statement so the people of Smallville can have closure. It is quite exposition heavy, this episode. It's dealing with a lot of storylines and trying to wrap them up, whilst also continuing it further. So I think that they handled that really well, actually. I think they did pretty well with that. The other Kryptonite that was Morgan Edge's assistant comes in the fray in this episode, and he and Clark Kent, Superman, and Steel, so Jeffrey Irons, fly into the mix and take her down. But I do think it was maybe her plan to do this. I'm not overly certain. And then there's some interaction with the kids and how they both skip school. And it's interesting how they're playing off against one another in a narrative sense. So you've got Jordan and Jonathan Kent. One with powers skips school and has the love of his life, basically, and they make out. The other skips school with a woman that he wants, but she's using him. And I like that playoff, because we're exploring, this Smallville world through both sets of eyes and both different experiences. And they're both, brothers, and I think they're supposed to be twins, if I remember rightly. And I like that. It's interesting, isn't it? The boy who would normally get the girl doesn't get the girl anymore. But then equally so, the boy that would never normally get the girl gets the girl, but after some bloody hard work. So I like that sort of play off against one another has been really nice to watch, and they're not irritating anymore. I still think that they are supposed to be somewhat irritating here and there, but that's because they're kids, and kids are a bit of a pain in the ass from time to time. So that was really great. And again, I'm rambling a little bit, but these things need to be registered, because on a narrative sense, they've done really well in crafting this family that you do actually give a shit about. Now, on to 7743 or 34. The room that holds all the experimental kryptonite stuff. the head of the DoD, Lois Lane's father, says, we're gonna throw it all away. Clark Kent, you've proven to us you're never going to hurt us. Clark Kent's like, yeah, sure. Goes back, thinks about it, and then comes back. He's like, no, don't get rid of it. Don't get rid of it at all. And under some admission that he gives to Lois Lane, he says, I felt that and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being completely out of control when Zod took over me. And that was interesting. And I like that because Lois Lane was like, they argued for a little bit and they was like, no, I understand, but let's not give it to my father. Let's give it to Jeffrey Irons, or John Henry Irons, I think his name is. I can't remember the name. John Henry Irons. Steel. Let's give it to Steel. And Steel was like, what? I came here to kill you, but now I don't want to anymore. You want me to kill you? He's like, no, not really, but I want you to have the means to do it, and I think that you're the most trustworthy person to do that. And I like that as well, because it's tying up people's narrative stories and giving them purpose in this world, and it comes full circle. Now let's talk about Edge, because that's all of that done. Right, that's all of the narrative threads done. Let's talk about Edge. Edge is in this kryptonite room. And he keeps having flashbacks to his father. And you can see that he wanted to be good. You can genuinely see that. When he learnt that he had a brother on Earth and all these kind of things, you can see he wanted it. He wanted to have a family, he didn't want to be alone. And I think that's potentially why he just succumbed to his father's will anyway, is because he didn't want to be alone. Now, in those flashbacks, there's an interesting reveal that he has a crystal of Clark Kent, Kal-El, and his mother, Lara L. He has a crystal, but his father won't let him activate it because his father, really sadistic piece of shit, wanted Tal to have that crystal so when he succeeds, he can show Lara L and then destroy the crystal. What a horrible, horrible person. So that happened. And we keep getting these flashbacks. And then we get the flashback to where Tal learns that he's not alone. So he's become a hero. And he disobeys his father. He takes the crystal out and disobeys him. But then he hears his father's voice. It's like, you will become the Eradicator. You will serve the purpose that I brought you here for, or you will know that you basically doomed our planet to total destruction and they will never ever live again. And at present day, in his mind, he says, goodbye, father. And then he starts glowing eyes, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here then? All of Krypton is taking over his body, basically. And he goes up, he's become the Eradicator. All of the souls of Krypton lie within him. He comes up into the sky, obviously smashes through everything, and he goes off to the sun and starts absorbing the sun. And he has become the Eradicator at that point. He has become this machine. Now, it's interesting because I thought, stupidly, maybe, that he was going to become like a Doomsday-esque kind of character. But they've been sticking pretty close to the source material with this show. So maybe that was a bit of a dumb thing. But it closes with him burning up, his eyes burning up. And I'm thinking maybe they're going to give off solar flares. And in those solar flares will be the souls of Kryptonite, Kryptonians, and they're going to go down to Earth. I genuinely don't. I've got no idea. That's why I like this show. Some of it is predictable, but some of the narrative twists that they push through here, I genuinely have no idea where they're going to go. Like, how does Morgan Edge becoming the Eradicator improve anything moving forwards? How? They don't have the machine and the means by which to force the spirits of Kryptonians into people. So how are they going to do that? Unless solar flares. I really like this show. It's really good. I cannot wait for the next episode. Each week I'm like, yep, cool. Wednesday, Superman and Lois, love it. Let's watch it. So consistently good. Love to hear your thoughts. So if you watch this episode, please do let me know down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. You stayed this long, you clearly enjoyed the video. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Leave that like on the way out. Take care.